Hey friends, welcome back to our channel. So if you are getting started in your garden in 2025 and you need some ideas of how to have an organized, successful garden, I've got all the tips here for you today. So we are going to go over how I organize my garden, how I plan my garden, and everything in between. So grab your garden planner and let's get started. So if you have been getting these garden catalogs in the mail or you've been seeing things on social media that make you want to get going in your garden, the urge is real. I got my Berlin seed catalog and I have been going through it for a couple weeks now, just getting the itch to get in the garden and get started. So it is March here in Ohio and it is still cold, so not quite time to get going with our garden plants yet, but I have been diligently going through this magazine, thinking of things I want to add this year, and also coming up with things that didn't work so well for us last year that we're probably going to change this year. So we are lucky enough, we live pretty close to the Berlin seed store. So the other day I took some inventory and went to that store, and I will put a little link, a little clip of that video here in a moment. But it is such a fun store, and the weather was freezing cold that day. It was snowing, so it kind of felt like Christmas, but it's just fun to look at these pictures, look at the plants, and just get that smell of fresh dirt, getting you motivated for the gardening season. So one of the first things I do when planning my garden is reflect on last year's garden. So down in the description below and up here, I will have a card linked to last year's garden tour. I'd say last year was one of our better years gardening. By no means am I a professional gardener. I am just your amateur gardener learning along the way, and hopefully some of you can relate to that. But I feel like we had a pretty good year last year with our garden, and this year I've got some new plans, bigger plans. So one of the first things that I do is reflect on our garden, see what worked, what didn't work. And I have to say that we probably planted way too many pepper plants last year. So this year, one of the changes we're going to make is to reduce the amount of pepper plants that we have, because we still have so many of these peppers jarred in our basement and we really don't need to add that many more. So that's the first change that I make. Second change is we planted potatoes for the first time. I just took the spuds cut from a potato that we had here in the kitchen and I tried to grow them myself, and I got the tiniest little potatoes ever, and I waited a long time for them. So I am going to change that this year. Hopefully that will do a little bit better. Another thing I did last year, I planted some raspberry plants, and those did not do very well at all. They died. I don't know if it was our soil or what, but I want to do more fruits this year. We planted apple trees last year. Hopefully they come back, and I'd like to do the raspberries and do some blueberries. That way I can make some jams. So reflecting back on that, those are a couple changes that I would make. Our tomatoes did awesome. Our cucumbers did awesome. We had carrots. We got quite a bit of peppers, and we got, peas. We got lots of peas. So I'm going to continue on with those. And one of the things that we have to do when we're looking at our garden is, what does our family like to eat? So everything I planted in my garden last year, minus the large amount of peppers, my family enjoys, and we canned it, and we have been eating them all winter long. So when planning our garden, the next step that we do is we go through and do our inventory. So this is step 2 for us. I went through all of our seeds from last year and took inventory of what we had, and I also took my Berlin seed catalog, went through here and decided what varieties I wanted to grow. One mistake I did make is I did not keep a great record of all the varieties that I had last year. If I had some seeds left over, I had them still in the packets, so that way I knew what they were. But if they were used up, I didn't have inventory of what varieties I put in there. So I think I'm going to keep a little better track of that this year, and then I'm also going to know which varieties work best for us.
So after taking some inventory, we went to the Berlin seed store and picked out some seeds that we needed to add and some seeds that we needed to replenish. So this store is so much fun, and it is just a gardener or homesteader's paradise.
not do anything fancy when I do the layout of my garden. I have Seed Time, that is an app that you can get on your phone or on your computer, and it has a paid version where you can have a whole layout done. But I am on a no-spend journey here, and we are trying to live more frugally. So I am not paying for the subscription where it will help you lay it out. So I'm doing it the old-fashioned way on a piece of paper, and this is what I did last year, and it worked just fine. But I'm going to go ahead and draw out, and this is not going to be to scale, but this is going to give us an idea of what we're going to put in these beds, where we're going to put them, and then I write down what I'm planting in the spring and then what I'm going to plant in the fall. So that Seed Time app will give you a detailed plan, and this is free. It will give you a detailed plan of when to start what vegetables, when to put them in the ground, and then when you should be able to harvest them. So here in Ohio, we are in zone 6B. So our last frost is usually about the second week of May. So I will not be starting a lot of these seedlings indoors quite yet because we still have a little while until our last frost date.
So this is the Seed Time app that I was telling you about. This is on my laptop, but I just have all my plants laid out. It tells you what time to start the seedlings indoors, when to plant them outside, and when to harvest them. And like I said, this is all free. So they do have a paid version that has a lot more bells and whistles, but this worked fine for what I am doing. I will have this linked in the description below if you want to give this a try. Another cool feature to this is if you click into the seed that you're planting, it gives you a more targeted date, and then it also will give you a how-to if you need to know how to plant this particular seed.
So now I am just taking my trusty ruler, my sheet of paper, I've got my pencil, and I am just drawing out our beds here. And then I am going to use my Sharpie markers to color code these of what plants are going to go in what bed. So when you are planting your garden, it is really important to pay attention to the spacing of the seeds. A lot of times it will tell you on the packets of how deep to seed them, how far apart they need to be. So it's really important when you go ahead and put these into your garden plans that you have the appropriate seed spacing. So here you can see it is just a very basic plan, but this is kind of what I'm thinking for my garden this year, and hopefully we'll be adding some more space to make this a little bit larger. Another important thing when planning out your garden is to think about companion planting and also to use plants that help keep pests down, like marigolds, garlic, things like that. Last year I did grow some garlic and I still have quite a bit left, so I might add a couple little plants of garlic, but that is something a lot of insects don't like. So looking at companion planting schedules when you look at your garden is super helpful just to keep pests down. So now we are going to talk about organizing our seeds. So I bought this off Amazon. It is a photo box holder, and I have just been taking my seeds and then placing them in this little container, and you can see it is labeled. This is radishes, and this is an airtight container. So it's really important that when you are storing your seeds, they are in an airtight place and that they are in a dark space. These seeds are fairly new, so I'm not doing a germination test. These mostly were bought from last year. Some of them are new from this year. But I have everything organized in here, and I need to fill out a couple more. But some of the things that I have liked the most, I have a lot of flowers that I have hopes to add into my cut garden. But I bought this whole big bag of green beans. These are the rattlesnake green beans. This is a ½ pound bag for $5.20. I felt like that was pretty good. And I love Berlin seeds because they have a little saying on a lot of the back of them. And it says, "And the Lord God took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it." So it has little sayings like that, which I think is really awesome. But I've got different varieties of beans. I do have these burpee beans also. These are left from last year as well. These are the tenderette beans. But one thing I can say is to invest in good quality seeds and to invest in good quality soil. That is going to be what gives your garden the most plentiful bounty, and that is the whole point of this, is to have a garden that we can enjoy, that we can, you know, eat the foods that we have grown. That way we can live more frugally and more self-sufficiently. So good quality seeds, good quality soil, and then also maintaining, you know, watch for pests, make sure that everything is watered and fertilized properly. That way you have a good growth rate. So as far as that, I also have my sugar snap peas. I have the Sugar Daddy peas. Radishes, I have the Champion radishes. We did these last year. I'm not a big fan of radishes, but my husband is, so we always grow these for him. For tomatoes, because I like to make a lot of salsa, we do the Italian Roma tomatoes, and I like those for salsa because they don't have as much juice and seeds in them. And I also like them for sauces because there's just not as many seeds. And then we usually just do a little thing of like cherry tomatoes. That way we have snacks or to put them in salads. And then we do one big thing of like the beef steak tomatoes to put on like burgers and things like that. Peppers, like I said, we have tons of peppers. So I have these categorized in sweet peppers. So I'm gonna open these up and show you the varieties we have. We have the Ninja S10. These are sweet peppers. We have the Orange Blaze sweet peppers, sweet banana peppers, which we use quite a bit, and then the Lunchbox mix, which we tried last year, and they were great. They were just little snack-sized ones, and they were just a great little quick snack out of the garden. Hot peppers. We did grow a lot of hot peppers last year. I have a garden salsa mix. I'm trying cayenne peppers this year. I've never done those before, but I want to do more spices. So we're gonna try the cayenne peppers, jalapenos, and then new thing that we tried last year was the La Bambas. And those were great because they were a little larger than your normal jalapeno, and those were great for like bacon wrapped cream cheese, popper jalapenos. So we are going to grow those again because those were great to have as a snack. I also plant a lot of varieties of lettuce. I love salads. I could eat a salad every single day. So I have Butter Crunch, which is kind of a staple. I have a salad mix, and then I always do some spinach. So last year I did buy pumpkin seeds. We ended up not using them, but my thoughts are to try to do the pumpkins again this year. And then for cucumbers, I have the homemade cucumber pickles. I bought this variety last year and they did really well. And then I have the burpee, the garden sweet, and the market more. Those are what we did a lot last year, was the market mores, and those are beets. They should not be in there. So we're gonna pull the beets out. There's cucumbers. Then carrots. I don't remember what variety of carrots I had last year, but this year I bought the tender sweet carrots. And then I had these, the Denver half longs. And I think I did use those the year before. So I've got my carrots organized, and then my zucchini. I have several types of zucchinis here. I love zucchini. My family doesn't love it as much, but I love zucchini, and we have a farm stand, so I sell those a lot out there. But I have the Zucchini Elite, and then I have the Summer Squash Black Beauty zucchinis. And if I don't use them, I freeze them, and then I can pull them out for a quick meal, or I can make zucchini bread. So those things are very helpful just to have. Some other things that I have here was watermelon. My daughter wanted to pick something, and she wanted to try watermelon. So we are gonna try growing it for the first time. We'll see how it goes. Never grown watermelon before, so if you have, in the comments below. I'd love to hear if it was hard, if it was easy, and what your thoughts are on growing your own watermelon. So I'm gonna go ahead and just fill in some of these empty ones that I have with some of the new seeds that I got. So we are going to label them and then put them in our box, and then we're gonna store this out in our garage. That way, once we are ready to start seeds inside, that way I just pull them out and they're all organized and ready to go. Okay, so here you can see all of my things organized. I still have a couple containers left for me to add more. And then in this area, I just keep things that I use like for labeling. Oh, I found some more cut carton mix in here. But just things that I use for labeling, I keep another container for that. So another thing that I got at Berlin Seeds were these potatoes. I am gonna go ahead and give these a try instead of doing just my little spuds off a potato. I'm gonna try to put these in there. And there we have this part of the organization of the garden done. Okay, so we are out here in our garden. It is cold out here today, but just gonna go ahead and give you a little tour of what it looks like in the winter, some things that we've been doing to get our soil ready for growing season, and just show you some of the beds that we have to maybe give you some ideas and kind of plan out some things that we want to do this year. So let me show you. Okay, so first we have, over here on the side of our barn, we have 2 raised beds. It does get a little bit shady over here, but in the afternoon it is full sun. So this bed right here, I had zucchinis last year. It was a little tight, so I think I'm going to put something different in here. You can see that we've been dumping the ashes from our wood-burning stove, which is great fertilizer. We also have a rabbit, so there is some rabbit poop in there and some chicken poop. Over here, I tried to grow raspberries last year. They didn't do well. I don't know if it just was too rocky of soil. So I'm going to find somewhere new to put those ones are dead, but get some new ones and see if we can get some raspberry plants growing this year so I can make some jams. Over here, that's where I had some green onions. Another raised bed here. I had tried potatoes in here, didn't go super well. My sister built a house here, so we used some of the soil from our house, and we have a lot of clay, so we're really working on building up soil. And if that's one tip I have, it is to have really good soil. So, got to decide what I'm going to put here. In this bed, we built this one ourselves. We have some ashes in here, and I think the cats have been messing around in it, but this I did tomato plant, and then I did some green onions in here, but this was also a pretty good garden for us. Here is our main garden. We have the trellis right here at the cattle panel. That's where I had my cucumbers. That did awesome last year, so I'm going to continue that again this year. And then we just had 2 big tomato plants on each side. We planted way too many pepper plants last year. We still have so many cans of peppers that we need to use up. Okay, this is my raised bed area, and these little potter plants, I had blueberry plants. They produce a couple of blueberries. I don't know if the birds get to them or what, but they need to go into something bigger. Then I had dahlia plants in these that gave me nice cut flowers for the year, and I really want to make a cut flower bed garden, but I just got to get my husband on board with that because we need to build up another area. Here is where I kept my herbs. I got these little signs here, like I kept basil, cilantro. I have a hard time with, and if you watch my video, I will post it in the description below about my cilantro issues, but I just can't grow well. Like once I cut it, it doesn't grow. But here you can still see I have some plants that are still trying to grow. That's my oregano, and then there was my parsley that I never ripped out. And then here, I did cut flowers in these beds. I got these beds also off Amazon. But I think I am going to maybe not do more cut flowers in here, maybe put some kind of vegetables, but I need to add more dirt. You can see it's kind of sunk down. Here is where I did my radishes. I did some carrots in here, and then in the back I did sugar snap peas.
You can see I still got some lavender here. I just like that because it attracts the bees, it smells good. I use it in decorations for things. Another raised bed here. I did carrots in this one, and then I had beans in the back. But we want to do more beans this year because we go through a lot of them. And even just for that little space that I had, I canned quite a bit of green beans. So I think we're going to expand that. And then we planted apple trees over here last year, hoping that they come back. I'd like to add some more things over here. My dream is to put a greenhouse back here somewhere. But I think we're going to expand that way now and build out our garden. But our garden isn't huge, and we have gotten a lot of produce from just this size. Okay, so I want to say that you don't have to have a big garden area. I would consider ours not very large, and we have produced quite a bit. I think it's really important to grow what you will eat. So when we first started gardening, we were growing all kinds of things that we didn't even use, that we didn't even eat, and it was a waste of space and kind of a waste of time because my family really didn't enjoy those foods like squashes and things like that. So when you're planting your garden, it's really important to don't worry about your space, just start small, use what you've got, and then plant things that your family will actually use and stuff that you enjoy. Okay, so once you have everything organized, you have your garden plan laid out, you took inventory of your seeds, the next step is to take inventory of all your supplies. So in my garage, I keep my seed flats, I keep my potting soil, and I also keep just some other fertilizer and my shovels and things like that. So you want to go outside and you want to take inventory of all of this. It is important that you have a plan and that you know when you're going to start your seeds. So like I said, I use Seed Time to tell me when to start, and I really like this app because it will give you tasks. You can send a task reminder to yourself of when to do things. Something I would eventually like to add is growing lights and something like that, but we have this beautiful sunroom over here. You might have seen it in the video. It gets a lot of light, and that's what I've used for the last 2 years. It works fine. Sometimes the plants kind of lean one way as they're trying to get to the light, but I just rotate them around. But do your research when you're planning out your garden. Know when your frost dates are. Know when to start your seedlings inside if that's what you're going to do. If you're a new gardener, do not feel like you need to start all your plants from seed. There's nothing wrong with going to your local greenhouse and buying already started plants. It depends on your amount of time you have, your setup, or if you're just not feeling comfortable with doing it from seeds, because it does take time and there is a process to get your plant to go from a seed to being able to plant it outside. You have to harden them up a little bit before you can just take them outside and put them out in your garden. So if you are brand new to gardening, go ahead and buy your plants from the garden store. Yes, it might be a little bit more expensive, but in the end, it's all about getting produce. And that's what we're trying to do, is get plants. That way we can stock our pantries downstairs in our house or in your kitchen with things that you have grown. So as a new gardener, my first tip would be to do what you will use, do what you're comfortable with, and also do your research. Researching, watching YouTube videos about gardening in your area. So like I said, we're in Ohio, we're in zone 6B. So our growing pattern is a lot different than somebody who lives in California or Florida. So make sure that you're watching videos or reading about things that happen closest to where you live. Another tip that I have for you is to start early. Start planning early. I know I started thinking about all this like January once. It was a new year, the holidays were over. I was like, okay, time to get ready for spring. Time to start planting the garden. So that is another tip I have for you, is plan early, plan often. So in the comments below, I would love to hear your favorite gardening tip or your favorite thing to grow in your garden. I also would love to hear any tips anybody has for growing some fruit plants. Like I said, my raspberries did not do well last year, so I am going to start the learning adventure of growing raspberries this year, and hopefully we have a good produce amount. And that's it. Our 2025 garden is officially in the works. Planning ahead and organizing your seeds now will save you time, money, and frustration when planting season arrives. I'd love to hear from you in the comments what you are growing this year and how do you organize your seeds. So let's swap ideas. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more self-sufficiency content, frugal living, and also just our fun family adventures. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Thanks for being here, friends, and we'll see you next time.